Hi everyone, welcome to the Museum of Art's Virtual Family Saturday. We are excited that you can join us from the comfort of your own homes. While we wish that you and your families could join us in the museum, we are excited to show you around the museum and are happy to bring the art and activities to you. Today we are going to focus on a new exhibition of medieval art entitled New Views of the Middle Ages. When you think of the Middle Ages, you might think of dragons, knights, princesses, and castles. Well, that's not all of it. This was a time where many people were traveling across the globe and making new kingdoms. During this time, they also produced a ton of wonderful objects to show what life was like many, many years ago. We've got some interesting things on view that I would like to share with you today. You're going to be learning about some of the materials that people use to make objects and art. So guardians and parents, please feel free to pause the video after any questions I ask to give your young ones a chance to respond and make conversation. Are you ready? Let's go. The first object we're going to see today is an Aquamenil, which comes from two words in Latin meaning water and hands. Does this give you a hint as to what this dragon was used for? If you guessed washing your hands, you would be correct. This vessel usually had water inside of it and was poured over your hands to wash them. This Aquamenil was probably placed on a dining room table to ensure clean hands before someone ate. As you can see, this Aquamenil has a spout in the mouth section. This Aquamenil is made out of metal and was sculpted to reflect a fanciful dragon. Some of these objects also came in the form of other animals, unicorns, lions, and centaurs, for example. If you had to make your own Aquamenil, what animal would you choose for your shape? Let's learn a little bit more about the material. Like I said, this Aquamenil is made of metal, which is a material that comes in a variety of shapes, sizes, and feels. When heated up from a solid, you can morph metal into any version of a shape you want. It can be flattened into small objects like coins, molded or cast into useful objects like pots and pans, or even made into tools like nails or big sculptures. What do you have in your house that's made of metal? The next object we're going to look at is this very small prayer bead with scenes from the life of Saint Jerome. As you can see, it's really, really small in this big case. Religion was very important in the Middle Ages, so it shows up in a lot of the objects that were created and used in the medieval period, but also shown in this exhibition. Prayer beads are used by different religions and cultures as a way to count the prayers that they are praying. Prayer beads such as this one was designed to be used by one person. It could be put into the palm of one person's hand. So think about how small that bead has to be in order for you to be able to use it. If you look closely, you can see that there are two stories being told in the upper and lower halves of the bead. In the bottom half, we see a group of kneeling men with a lion chasing three men, while a saint rides nearby on a horse or a camel. Based on the object's color and detail, what do you think this bead is made out of? Wood. You might be used to seeing wood in a form of a log or maybe as furniture in your home, but this is boxwood. It is a really dense, tough material that was finely carved and took a lot of time to carve this bead and the different images, probably from cubes of wood. This small piece right here is known as a diptych, which means that it is two panels put together to tell a story. This piece shows the two stories of the Virgin Mary and Christ as a baby and the crucifixion on the right side. Again, This diptych was made for personal reasons to promote religious prayer for one person. Items like this were often carved in special workshops in Paris, France, but the material was imported from Africa. What material do you think this might be made of? This material is made of ivory, which again was imported from elephant tusks in Africa. During the Middle Ages, there was a bountiful trade in different types of materials and goods. Another object that we find in the exhibition is this lusterware plate. As you can see, this plate is huge, twice the size of a normal plate that you might use for dinner. What colors or patterns do you see on the dish, and can you describe them? You might notice that this plate is quite yellow, with a letter in the center and an animal figure, probably a lion, in the middle. That piece with the letter and the animal is a form of heraldry, which is the display of images and symbols that identify your family, ancestral ties, or a rank. Think about the plates you use at home. What type of material do you think this plate is made from? If you said clay or ceramic, you are right. To make this plate, the maker had to mold the clay into this plate form and bake it at a really, really high temperature to harden. Then the maker decorated it in a glaze made of metallic, which is similar to the metals used for the Aquamenil we saw earlier, and then baked it again at a hot temperature. The result is a plate that is long wearing and really shiny and looks silvery in the light. By now, you've learned about a few materials that people used in the Middle Ages to make objects both large and small. Now it's time for our activity. To complete this activity, you're going to want a set of markers, crayons, colored pencils, anything you can draw with. While talking about the last object, I introduced the term heraldry, which again is the display of images or symbols used to identify you, your family, someone's rank, or other groups. For today's activity, you will be making your own heraldic device. Just like the plate, it has to include your initial and a symbol of things used to identify you or your family. To give you an example of a heraldic device again, I'm showing you one that I made. This is the shape of a crest that you can use to outline your heraldic device. In this device, I have an initial E for Elizabeth, my first name. I have an image of my home state. I have plants, which anyone who knows me knows I love taking care of plants. And then I have an image of my favorite animal, an elephant. Together, all of these things combined give someone a sense of what I am like as a person. So now it's up to you to create your own heraldic device. What are you going to put in it? Thank you so much for joining us for today's Virtual Family Saturday. I hope you had a great time looking at different materials used in the Middle Ages. Feel free to come back again in December when we talk about African art and its connections to family. I'll see you then. Have a great day.